So for step 14, the front suspension 1, well, it's going to be all about putting those front uprights that we just built onto the arm. And you can see that it's going to be attached by a flathead screw and then 3 little guys, and there they are. So that's the hardware that we need. And then there are the pieces that we're going to be screwing those uprights into. So I'll set this up and let's put this together. So for this first one, you can see that this is going to sit like that once we have this attached to the arm. But the one thing you're going to need to watch out for here is that we need to be able to have these screws go through the holes. Now you would say, oh, well, I've got it in the right place because the holes are visible. Well, as you can see when you put this on, the holes are not visible. Why? Well, because the little baubles on the other side have actually gone into where the screws are supposed to go. So you may have to lift it up and move it around so that they go into the proper holes, where you can see that they're down on the little holes. Now when you put this on, you'll notice that the holes are visible, so you're still going to be able to screw this in. So that's the one thing to watch out for. Now, because we are at the stage of screwing this in, this is where I am going to put the grease on. And I just found when I did the other one, I preferred doing it this way rather than greasing it up beforehand, because I can get the grease in between, and it's just the way I preferred to do it. Anyway, there we go. So again, let's make sure that this is going to be correct. We know that it's going to sit down like that. We know that's got to turn around. The baubles need to be in the correct place. This is the correct arm that's got to fit onto there. And then when we turn this over, no, they moved again, which is fine. I just have to shift this around so that it's not on that spot. Yes, that is correct. So let's put this down again. And the holes are there. So we're going to grab one of the little screws and stick that down there. And I'm not going to tighten this on all the way, just want to have it go in enough. And same thing with the other one. I just want to know that they're all going through. And then of course we have our flathead screw, which we'll use our bigger screwdriver. Which is going all the way through to the other side. Now with these guys, you definitely want to tighten them, but don't over tighten them. They're so tiny that if you put too much pressure on these, you may end up stripping them out. So just make sure that you tighten them, but don't over tighten them. And there you go. And this feels so smooth because it's literally the whole arm is sitting on a ball connector. So there's nothing really catching at all. So this is super smooth. So again, we're going to do the other side. So that is essentially how it's going to look. So for this side, again, we got to make sure that these are in the right spot. They're not. You can see that they're sitting in the screw holes. So we're going to need to move them around so that the little plastic protruding dots are going into the right little dot, not the screw hole. So we know that that is correct. And I'm going to grease up the ball connector from here. There we go. And we're going to take this and have it sit just like that. So that if we flip it over, you should be able to see the holes going through, which we are. So I can take one of the screws, put that in there, and screw it in. Again, I'm not doing it too hard to begin with. Just want to make sure that everything is going to seat right. And we can grab our flat-headed screw. Take that all the way through. And one last screw to test out before we tighten everything up. And that's fine. So I'm going to tighten up this flathead screw. Then I'm going to go around and tighten up the little guys. And again, tighten them, but don't over tighten. They're too small. You could end up stripping them if you put too much pressure on these. So there we go. So there is the other side, and again, that just is super, super smooth and feels really loose. Very nice. So there is front suspension 1, step 14 complete. So now we're going to move on to step 15 and work on front suspension 2.